Hey everybody, welcome to Alright, 2,000 subscribers, rapid fire Q&A time. It's not really going to be that rapid fire, but I'm going to try. What inspired you to start a channel of your own? This question's has a bit of context to it, since Connor Quimby is the one asking, and also the emoji reactions spell out Bionicle for a reason. So yeah, Connor Quimby's How to Create an Awful Conlang series was one of the main things that made me decide to actually go for the YouTube channel. And Bionicle was my favorite series and set of toys as a kid, and the Matoron language from Bionicle planted the seed of Conlang in my head from a very early age. But in all reality, this is my third YouTube channel. Both of my first two have videos more popular than any on this channel, though I've definitely beaten both of them in terms of subscribers. But the worst part is that my most famous video ever is a 40-second clip of 9-year-old me spraying pressurized air on a Lego plane's propeller and making the propeller spin, and it has 160,000 views. So I will have won YouTube once I've made an actually good video that can get more views than propeller power. Which would you say is the worst? Rabid, Hyperpirate, or the undisclosed language that I shall not reveal the name of just yet? So Eternal asked this question before I released the Gumsmack video. That's the undisclosed one. Gumsmack is overall much more cursed, but that can't change the fact that Hyperpirate literally hurt way more. Like, way more. After recording the Hyperpirate Nuzzles You Woo copy pasta, I literally couldn't speak for 2 days. Gumsmack doesn't hurt that much, but the language itself is definitely more cursed. What are your favorite real languages? Conlangs are real languages too, but no, I'm gonna consider that Natlangs, and I'm gonna say Maltese, Navajo, Ket, and English. Don't kill me for that one. I'll probably explain later. What's your credit card number? 6098. What's the expiration date and the 3 numbers on the back? Wait a second. Oh, May 2020. What's your social security number? Okay, I feel like something might be going on here. Will you do a language family video on my Conlang? So I get asked questions like this a lot, like quite a lot. Obviously I've made a few showcases of my own Conlangs, and I've also made videos for Cantwell and Mundir, it's other people's languages, you know? I really do want to do more showcases of other people's languages, like I definitely will. But with the amount of time that it consumes to make an entire video these days, I have to be a bit choosy. So I am going to establish a rule here. If you want your language to be showcased, you either need to be a patron of mine for at least 3 months, a $3 patron specifically, or I need to see your language somewhere and I need to consciously reach out to you to make a video about it because I just can't resist. Or both. For whom would you vote in the 1912 presidential election? So, the 1912 election was the craziest election since, like, the 1860 election. The 1912 election is the one that got spoiled thanks to Teddy Roosevelt making his own party, the Bull Moose Party, which then led to the victory of Woodrow Wilson, who is most definitely the worst president in American history, maybe second to James Buchanan. Now, I could look back retroactively with my hindsight is 2020, got him, and say that Teddy ruined the whole thing, but if I lived back then, I probably would have been, like, a Teddy supporter just because he was being the cool edgy boy to make a third party. So, how do you talk about your channel to the people that you know IRL without getting embarrassed about certain videos or stuff like that? So this is an interesting question. I didn't tell people in real life that I even had a channel until I reached 1,000 subscribers, but I've never been embarrassed of my videos, right? In fact, I literally got my current job because of the YouTube channel. More than my goddamn degree. my bachelor's degree or my master's degree. this YouTube channel has been the most appealing thing to employers throughout my entire job application process, which is weird. Ever since I added it hesitantly to my resume, I got swamped with interviews for jobs that involve writing and social media management. So I showed my now boss the Conlang iceberg video, and I got hired for it. I'm not gonna be embarrassed by my channel or any of the content on my channel, no matter how weird it is. If anything, I should be embarrassed that I paid for college and then got a job with the YouTube channel instead. What's a meme you think is overused or you dislike in the Conlang community? I guess you could call it a meme, but there seems to be a branch of like that Poland ball-ism that has spread to Conlanging, especially when giving personalities to popular Conlangs like Esperanto and Tokipona. Like, everything in the Poland ball genre, I don't really get it. So we've seen a lot of North America and a bit of South America, thanks to the Arodjun book, but I'm curious as to how the other continents are doing. Are they populated by dogs? Are they as disfigured as Mexico? I have so many questions. So that's actually left out on purpose. You can see in my book, which is available for $22 US on Amazon, several maps of some very corrupted and cursed future Americas. There's a big story that I'm writing that involves the nature of Afro-Eurasia and what happened over there, and I would like for that plot to remain a secret for as long as possible. I know what happened there, but you're gonna have to wait until I start releasing my comic to find out. Why did you choose dog people to be Arodjun speakers? All the civilizations in this world are based on my dog Roxy and the dogs of my friends when we were little. Roxy became Ruxalusha, Frankie becomes Fwank, Louie became Lutazuma, etc. How is the girlfriend? And Schwa? Oh, she's doing great. We just went to Disneyland and visited the real-life Toontown, before then playing online Toontown at the hotel. Does it hurt to be so cute? Yes. Yes, it does. Somebody make it stop. I beg of you. What's it like being a published author? It feels pretty good. Having accomplished one of the goals that I'd had literally my entire life. Now all I really need is a Wikipedia page, and then I'm set. Is there anything at all that points against Arizona being a literal wasteland? Okay, the southern third of Arizona is a wasteland, I'll give you that one. But the rest of Arizona, including my part, is a crazy place full of all kinds of awesome biodiversity and nice towns, and the weather is amazing from like November to April. Don't worry about the other part of the year, we don't talk about that. It's not a wasteland. Are you a cat person or a dog person? Wait, you literally built an entire world around your pet dog. What type of dog is your favorite? Yeah, I'm a dog person. No surprise there. My favorite dog is a Shih Tzu Poodle, because that's what Roxy was. Second place is probably a Chiweenie. Third place, maybe just a straight-up dachshund. Miniature dachshund? I don't know. Nominative accusative versus ergative absolutive. It doesn't necessarily need noun cases to function. I give extra brownie points to languages that don't have cases because it forces the creator to do some pretty creative things. If I had to choose one of them, though, I would choose nominative accusative. What country and time period would you live in the world Arodjun's in, if you were transported there? If I had to live in that world, I would probably choose to live in the Prince Empire in the 1500s AR, in the Prince homeland around Virginia specifically. And this comes with a lot of like moral gray areas here, so warning on that. The Prince were like the most powerful empire the world had ever seen, and they had a ton of resources. There was also this huge creative and technological renaissance happening there during like the 1400s to 1600s. The biggest technological advances since the discovery of human technology. So it would be a great place to be a nerd, and of course the big empire that is generally considered an antagonist in my stories kind of has, you know, colonial implications, which is tragic, but you asked where I'd choose to live, so for the literal quality of life, I would choose to live in the Prince homeland. RIP. What does BR stand for in your book? BR is before the remodernization or before the rediscovery. This is because this refers to the time before the first usable human technology was excavated in CERN. The BR-AR distinction was codified by the Prince Eye, and it reached the Fuano Peninsula during the height of the Prince Empire. It was really the biggest shift to hit the CERN-Cahelan cultures, so it's worth having that distinction. Are you in favor of the revival of the letter Thorn? Only if Ed is brought back too, so that sentence would make sense. Can we reform French in normalcy, or must it be eliminated entirely? That's a tough one. I'll get back to you on that one. If you could get rid of one language, what would it be? And why did you answer French? Okay, this question seems a bit tailored. If you could permanently kill one Natlang and revive one dead or dying Natlang, which ones would they be? Okay, I'd totally bring back Tokarian B. And kill off... yeah, French. What do you think of multi-ocular O? Since you created the Rabbids language, why not create the Minions language? Pretty sure somebody already has. But if not, then might have to. What will you do to stop conlangers from conlanging? I think we need to enforce like a strict prescriptivism on all these heathens to kind of scrub this darkness from their souls. Yeah. Do you like my cat? Yes. Very cat. This is my cat. Do you like him? Your cat's a Cyclops. I approve. This is my second cat. Do you like her? Okay, wow, you have 2 Cyclops cats. That's impressive. Are you a furry? Lol. Once you see the art for my upcoming comic, nobody would believe me if I said no to this question. Absolutely nobody. But for now, I reserve the right to say no. Do you love me? Say yes. Yes. In parentheses. What's the most obscure, mind-screwy grammatical feature of a language that you know? Now this may be a bit of a plot twist, but in all honesty, dangling prepositions mess with my mind. Yeah, like in English. It's so natural to do, like everybody does it, but once you think of how the dangling preposition sits inside of a grammar tree of a sentence, it really starts messing with your mind. So seriously, do any of you put dangling prepositions in your conlangs? I don't think I've seen anybody do that. Is there any advice you'd give to beginners? It's gonna sound a little cliche, but for beginners, I'd say the best thing you could do is to persist and improve. Most people hate their first conlangs when they look back on them, self included. The original version of Arodjun and the conlang that came before it, not good at all. So if you make your first product and you don't like it, don't let that be an excuse to just say, I'm a bad conlanger, I can't conlang, and give up. Just like anything, you need to practice, and then you'll have good ones whenever you study some language stuff, and just do it. What's your favorite script? For a Natlang, either Telugu or Sinhala. For a conlang, Adun. Definitely Adun. Thoughts on the Middle English Creole hypothesis? Is that even a hypothesis? Like, with how different Middle English is than Old English, these Normans really corrupted the whole system. I feel like it had to have been a pidgin and then a Creole at some point for, like, things to make sense. What's your favorite childhood memory? And how has that impacted who you are today? It's gonna be a weird one to choose as favorite because it's not a good one. I'll say that a very important moment in my childhood was when I was canoeing around Catalina Island in the ocean, and there was 10-foot massive wave swells going above us and sinking us in at 2 a.m. with no moonlight. And I was afraid of the ocean, and there was no way out, so, like, you either keep on paddling, or you crash into the rocks that are jutting out of the water and just die, and, I don't know, I guess I learned to accept mortality that day, so that's, an impact. Anyway, what would you do differently if you had to start over with learning to conlang? So when I started conlanging, my first mission was to make a language so different from English, but, of course, I didn't really know much about linguistics yet. So the end result ended up being something that was definitely different from English, but still was very much caused by English, if that makes any sense to you. I kind of wish I started out a bit simpler to make a more cohesive starter language before getting more complicated. Of course, I feel like everybody does that, but still. Thoughts on the English language? As I mentioned earlier, English is actually one of my favorite languages. Now, I know a lot of people like to roast it for its spelling system, which is totally fair. But the backstory of English, the features of English, its cursed phonemes, and its wild variety across all of its regions, the amount of vowels, the amount of slight variations in pragmatics that can completely change like the tense aspect and mood in incredibly intricate ways, like it's crazy. I like English a lot. What's your favorite English word that doesn't exist? Bwench. Which obscure Natlang family do you think needs more attention in terms of like Conlangs based on them? Okay, I love the Italic languages, sure, but my choice has to go to the Dene languages. The way Navajo, Athabascan, and other Dene languages work rhythmically, grammatically, phonemically is very underrated, and you should totally check them out. Also, the aesthetic of how Navajo is written really gets me going. Does Guam exist? If not, any plans on founding it? So Guam, no, it does not exist. Unfortunately, if we were to found Guam, it would break the fabric of the universe. It's like an asymptote in the graph of reality, so you can approach it, but never reach it, so sorry. Do you speak Sugandese? Sugandese what? If someone created a series taking place in a world rich in real conlangs, would you be one of the voice actors? Oh yeah, most definitely. I don't know if y'all knew, or if you picked that up from all the scene translations that I did, but one of my reach dreams in life is to be a voice actor for cartoons. I actually have a voice acting portfolio that I put together a couple years back, so yeah, I'd love to. If anybody watching this is a filmmaker or connected to filmmakers who are looking for a voice actor who's good at the IPA and playing characters, let me know. I beg of you. Are you currently learning a foreign language? Kinda. Like I speak English, Spanish, a little Catalan, studied Latin for a few months, mostly to help me conceptualize case systems when I was making Phosphon. I spent a semester studying Mandarin at ASU, and I was teaching English to Chinese students for a while, so that totally helped. I'm still occasionally learning Mandarin. It's just not like a very hardcore study session. Would you want to live in the world that you created? Not really. You saw my best example earlier in the video was already pretty morally gray. It's a pretty brutal world with some pretty terrible dangers in certain regions that make the most basic life pretty agonizing at certain points. Like the Ick in the Fwannel Peninsula, like that sucks. I guess it's based on valley fever in Arizona. But Arizona's not a wasteland, I swear. What are your thoughts on non-human conlangs? And have you ever considered making one? Non-human conlangs are pretty awesome, and very impressive accomplishments when well done. Done well. when the conlangs are cooked well done. But I doubt I'll ever make one. I like taking the human mouth and body to the limit while still being possible to articulate, as we've seen. Once it's something you can merely think about and never hope to actually replicate on your own, it kind of becomes less fun to read, in my opinion. Have you ever visited Nothing, Arizona? Why? Are you God? Pray, and you'll find out. Have you ever made a non-cursed conlang other than Arodjun? Yeah, kinda. Phosphon and Pithom are both very weird languages, but I'd say they're naturalistic enough to not be called cursed, you know, like I didn't make them for a joke. Noshin should be even better than both of them once it's done, though. You'll see. What do you think of Arodjun and Aradia? What do you think of Vriska and Dave? Dave is better with Terezi. To what extent do you believe in macro families? So I would love to believe in macro families, but just due to the sheer scale of human history, that is just a shadowy mystery to us, other than like some vague genetic information, there's no way to prove any of the macro families, right? Danaeanisian is the closest to being proven, and for a while I was quite obsessed with it. I made a video essay on it. I believe that one, I'll go that far. Like, that's a stretch though. But like Altaic, Nostratic, stuff like that, sure, maybe like in the deep lore of human prehistory it could be true, but there's no point in even trying just due to the massive time scale that you'd have to go back to put all those pieces together. Why didn't you include prolangs in your conlang iceberg video? Okay, Tux, I didn't know what prolangs was until you mentioned it. if I had been recommended it on Discord when I was making the iceberg, I totally would have gone in like around tier 4 probably. Who's your biggest inspiration in your day-to-day life? For making YouTube videos, my biggest inspirations are Overly Sarcastic Productions, Big Joel, and JJ McCulloch. Those are probably my top 3. In general, my biggest inspirations are probably Jonan Vasquez, again, both blue and red from Overly Sarcastic, and George Harrison. Take that. So there we go. That is the end for those Q of A questions. There's a couple questions that were kind of duplicates. There are a couple others that I'm going to do at the end of videos later on, I think. So yeah, there we go. Again, thank you all so much for 2,000 subscribers. Like, it's crazy that we've gotten that far. Now all I need to do is get a video with more views than Propeller Power, and I'll be set for life. But no, in all reality, our next goals, obviously, 3,000 subscribers is the next subscriber milestone, and the next Patreon goal is to reach $62 per month. I did some calculations and stuff, and $62 per month is how much it would take for me to make up for all the money that I spent on this channel within 6 months? I think that's what it was. And as I mentioned earlier, if you want your Conlangs to be showcased, you have to be a $3 patron for at least 3 months. Maybe that'll help with that goal. I'm also going to start posting more like behind the scenes information on there. Also, I give a lot of advice to patrons who ask. We have like email chains and stuff going on. So there's benefits coming in. I didn't really know what to do at first, but now the system is starting to come into place. So please, it would help me so much and give me a lot of inspiration and a lot of motivation if you were to become a matron of mine. And now, so the future. What's going to be going on in the near future of this channel? So we're entering a new phase now that we've passed this subscriber milestone, and my life has gone through several drastic changes. I got a full-time job, blah blah blah. The channel is going to go on stronger than ever, but I am going to be slightly compartmentalizing and shifting the structure of how and when things are released. So, first announcement, a comic. I am going to be making and releasing, hopefully in the form of a webcomic that'll be available on Nguh.org, a comic that will be released both in English and in Arodjun. That's the goal, at least. My goal is to release it both in Arodjun and English, so you could use it as a learning material to learn Arodjun. And if you have the book, it'll be even better. Stay tuned for that. In the coming months, you'll probably see more information about that. Now, Minecraft Stream Season 2. Yes, the Minecraft server still exists, but ever since Season 1 of the streams has ended, it hasn't been as active. And Season 2 is going to be coming. We are going to wait until 1.18 comes out before we start Season 2 of the Minecraft streams. And it looks like that's going to be happening around December, so keep in tune for that as well. I'm going to be doing more song covers because I'm doing a lot more musical things lately, and I really love making those songs that I've already made. They're really fun. A lot of people have requested songs. I have a lot of ideas, and some pretty cursed ones could come out of it too if I do more cursed languages like Hyperpirate or Gumsmack in song. Then, the grand unveiling of the new version of the Gambian Holiday Wiki is going to be coming soon, and this I am extremely excited about. The Gambian Holiday Wiki, if you don't know, is a website that me and my friend created from around like the end of 2018 through the beginning of the coronavirus is when we kind of stopped working on it. It's like a very cursed rabbit hole wiki multiverse story. It's a story that's meant to be told in the form of wiki links. You can check out the old version, but I am not going to recommend that yet because the new version is going to be slightly different. It's going to start out probably the same, but there's some certain elements of the canon from the old one that we're going to be changing and updating and improving upon in this new version. So you could look at the old version, but it's quite likely that it's not entirely going to be canon by the time it's all re-released. Then We have in recent live streams revealed the existence of the organization Big Lang, the group of almost all of the Conlang YouTubers. So we are actually going to be starting a podcast relatively soon called the Big Lang Podcast. It's going to be a rotating cast of 2 or 3 of us in each episode, and it's going to be a really good time, so keep your eyes peeled for that as well. And lastly, I think, as I suggested at one point, that I'm going to probably try to do like Arodjun or Conlang lesson shorts, like, you know, the YouTube short thing, the thing they're trying to compete against TikTok with. I think I'm gonna start doing some of those. There's like quick little videos on lessons on how to speak Arodjun, or just like Conlanging tips, stuff like that. You all like wanted me to do it when I mentioned it, so I'm gonna try and do it. We're gonna see how it turns out. That's pretty much all of my announcements. That's pretty much the end of this video. I hope you got some insight into my life during this Q&A, and I'm very excited to enter the next era of this channel with you all. So I love all of you very much. Talk to me on Discord, or email me at nguhmail@gmail.com, or become a patron of mine and message me on Patreon. Again, there's now like more tangible perks to that. I am very happy to have all 2,000 of you. Goddamn. Again, I know like there's people with millions of subscribers, but like it doesn't change anything, you know. 2,000 is still like a huge milestone. So thank you for making the past like almost 2 years now very enjoyable, and let's get another 2 in there. All right, I'll see you in the next real video. And Nguh is out. See you next time. Jerry Seinfeld is here to stay, by the way.